Hour number 2 officially underway on a Sunday, and a glorious Sunday on Easter, talking Major League Baseball. It's myself, Donnie Rightside, and Craig Mish. No better place that you want to be. Also, in hour number 2, we'll get into some of those prediction markets, agreements, arguments, contracts, investments, whatever you may call it. We'll have some fun with those, but also we're going to go ahead and give you some guys that we think could go yard today, Craig, and also maybe an underdog or two that you might want to look at. Good times in hour number 2 here on Pro Baseball Today.
It is. The first game will not be an underdog that I will choose. But Donnie, what's going on with your squad here, man? Where's the offense? When's the? I mean, isn't this weekend in Denver supposed to be a stat padding weekend for your Phillies? What's going on here?
Don't you worry about it. We had a nice 8-0 lead before even the Rockies came to the plate in game number 1. Then we said let's slow it down with Luzardo with a ton of strikeouts in game number 2. Looking for the sweep, Craig, in game number 3. Those fighting Phillies, but Taijuan Walker's on the mound today, and last time I saw Taijuan Walker in 2026 was like what I saw in 2025 and 2024. Not all that good here, but the Phillies are a heavy favorite today, Craig, in Colorado. Overnight lines, give or take, -150 to -155. Money coming in on the Phillies, Craig. I'm seeing some -175s in the marketplace for Taijuan Walker. He's going up against Sagano today, and look at that total. Very Coors-like at 11. The Phillies looking to complete the sweep today with Taijuan on the mound, Craig.
Yeah, and they will. I mean, Sagano, who the Rockies signed in the offseason, had himself a really good start to begin the season. But this is going to go the other way. Donnie, I saw the Rockies in person. To me, they're far and away, unfortunately, the worst team in Major League Baseball. I know the Phillies have scored some runs this weekend, but this should be the game that they blow the door open, I would think. I give the Rockies a very slim chance to win today. And look, when you're going through a rebuild like the Rockies are, new general manager, they named their interim manager the manager, but this is just a team that's playing a lot of 4A guys, Donnie. I hate to say it. There's a lot of guys on this roster who probably don't deserve to be in the big leagues, but hopefully for them, they can make the most of it. I don't see any way, and I don't see any path that Sagano gets out of this cleanly today. I just don't see it.
I did like how bad Walker was in game number 1 that he pitched. It was like, hey, look, we're not going to burn our bullpen this early in the season. Just get out there. Gave up like 10 hits in that game, multiple runs. So him on the season, talking about Walker, 29 batters that he faced, 6.9 K percentage, which will get you killed in Major League Baseball, specifically in elevation. But how about a weighted on base percentage against a 404? Now, as Craig pointed out also, it's a lot to be desired in that lineup here for the Colorado Rockies. But if we do flip it over to the Philadelphia Phillies, Sagano struggled all year last year. And actually coming into this game against right-handed pitching, even if that slow start, Schwarber, Harper, Bohm, Garcia, Marsh, and Real Muto, all really good numbers against right-handed pitching. This could be one of those games where you look at and say, well, take the team total for the Phillies. But as we know, Craig, in elevation, you don't get 3.5, 4.5, or 5.5. Sometimes as high as 6.5, or when the Dodgers come to town, 7.5. But I'm with you. I do think the Phillies hit today, and regardless of what Walker does, they should be able to overcompensate for that.
Yeah, Schwarber, 5 extra base hits to start the season, so that would be the guy that I would potentially pick today. But, when you play at Coors and you're playing the betting markets, obviously, FanDuel, DraftKings, everywhere else, you're getting no favors at Coors, which is why I usually like to surf for some other players and some other games here. Are the Rockies going to lose 100 games? Yes. What would be the alarming part about this? For me, Donnie, is that the Rockies did win in Toronto, if you remember, earlier in the week. But throughout the years, the reason why the Rockies haven't lost like the White Sox, as an example, did a couple of years ago, is because they always seem to be okay at home. Have you noticed that? Even when they stink, they always seem to play okay at Coors. If they don't win any games at Coors, they could rival those White Sox seasons. I do think they'll win 50 games. But, man, I don't know how many more than that.
I mean, it's a big market. It's a great ballpark to watch a game. It's in elevation. It's got a bad baseball team. And maybe you're just saying, you know what? Let's just wait and bide our time. Craig, I'm waiting until we get the technology to build a dome in Colorado that can sort of bring the air pressure in, that brings it down to sea level and say, hey, pitchers might want to come here at this point here. Remember back in Minnesota, Craig, they had the Metrodome where they had if you opened up a certain amount of doors, like the place would deflate at this point. They would get some of that in Colorado and sort of change the air degrees and temperatures in that market. But the Phillies should roll today. The question, though, if you want to pay that price on Taijuan Walker, we'll find out a little bit later. 4:05 start, the Houston Astros with a decent start to the season going up against the Athletics in Sacramento here, Craig. Overnight, slight favorite for the Athletics. Now I'm seeing slight favorite for the Houston Astros with McCullers, who was actually really good in his first start. Lopez, the lefty, going against McCullers, and a total. Love to see it. It's Coors on the West Coast, Craig. That's double digits out of 10.
Yordan Alvarez, Jose Altuve, two of the best hitters right now in the American League. I was actually tinkering with the idea of maybe the A's today. You know, I was looking at this, trying to find a path to take the A's, and I just couldn't do it. I couldn't come up with it. They're 2-6 to start the season. I got to tell you, Donnie, there's going to be some pressure on the A's this season, and especially when you consider that they signed a couple of free agents, but they gave out a lot of contract extensions, regardless of how much money extra that is out of the ownership's pocket. They're looking toward Las Vegas in a couple of years. The A's can't lose 100 this year, you know, Donnie? Like, they got to be a little bit better than that, and they're off to a brutal start. It is a tough place to pitch in. Lopez, who is not going to strike out the world, will pitch for the A's today. My guess is Houston probably scores some runs. As I mentioned, offensively, their stars are off to a good start. But what really has me perplexed a little bit is the pitcher on the mound for the Astros, who is Lance McCullers, just because the start that he had his first time out, which was vintage McCullers, and when I say vintage, we're talking about like 2021. It's been a really long time since we've seen him pitch well. I can't back that train again today. It's a complete pass for me on this game.
Yeah, it's interesting. You're right about this because Lance McCullers, the start of his career, hey, this is going to be another one of those aces that they found down in Houston, and injuries just derailed him. But it was really good to see that first start. He's been great to start the season. We'll see if it does turn over today. But I'm also important looking at here at Jacob Lopez. The lefty on the mound last year was very good against lefties, but a lot to be desired, Craig, in that ballpark against right-handed batters. A 205 ISO through 301 batters he faced last year, and a 346 weighted on base percentage, but still had a pretty good K rate of around 27%. If those right-handed bats can stay hot today for Houston, maybe they can do some damage. And finally, Craig, one of the games we talk about, 77 degrees at first pitch here with a light wind blowing out the center field, a true hitter's ballpark there. And Craig is also correct about this. When you are a business and looking to change and move to a new city, you want to sell tickets, you better give them some superstars and some guys that are going to be in town that they can actually know about before they get there. Very important seasons, I should say, for the Vegas/Sacramento/Oakland Athletics here. Let's keep it moving down the list, Craig, here. The New York Mets. Senga's going to be on the mound to take on Webb. Like to see this. Overnight, Craig, -120 price as a favorite towards the Mets. Today, still sitting around a -120 favorite. Low total at 7.5. I don't know how many runs we're getting today, but the one thing I do know is Juan Soto probably is not going to be in that lineup today. Webb versus Senga, Mets versus Giants.
Yeah, that's a massive loss for the Mets and massive for their lineup. And again, Senga, to me, with the Mets, you see Soto going to be out there. I mean, this is another pass for me, Donnie, because, I mean, Senga's a mystery at this point. We just don't know. Like, is he going to be the guy that when he came up, he was so dynamic, or is he going to be the guy that we thought wouldn't even be in the rotation again? And as far as the Giants are concerned, it seems like when they get off to a good start in a game, they win. But once they're behind, I mean, I hate to like correlate it to a football team, but they just don't have the most dynamic offense. Like Devers is there and they have a couple of nice hitters, but if they're trailing in a game, can they come back and score 5 runs or 4 runs and win? I don't know. So the early part of this game is what I'll be keeping an eye on, especially if Logan Webb can get off to a good start. Everyone, of course, is alluding to opening night a couple of weeks ago where he did not. I think that he'll get right, and I think we'll be in for a close game. Pass for me on this one.
I think it's going to stick to an under as well, but also, as you're pointing out, Craig, Kodai Senga technically is a strikeout pitcher. Only 25 batters that he faced on the season. He's at about a 36%, which last year was only around 22%. But that line, first 3 guys in the lineup against righties this year, Craig, Adames, Devers, and Ramos, 35% K rate, 37% K rate, 37% K rate. You got to at least get some guys on base. So for me in this game, obviously going up against Logan Webb, I expect him to be fine as well. An under in a true pitcher's ballpark today. And it is a toss-up on who's going to win this game. Same thing as we take a look at that line at -120. Give me the under in the Mets and the Giants. More Major League Baseball and pro baseball today. Coming up next.
Bad franchises do bad things, Kevin. You know what I'm saying?
You know what, though, man?
The Cleveland Browns. Todd Monken missed the NFL head coach's photo shoot because the guy was getting his hair cut.
Yeah.
So what do you think? You're on the cover of the season, coach? You're sitting next to Andy Reid, bro. Put on a golf shirt, shut up, and sit down. Oh, I got to get my hair done.
Game time decisions. Only on SportsGrid.
Urging them to stop offering these certain sports-related contracts it believes are especially ripe for manipulation. These are markets like what is someone on the broadcast going to say during the game, which you can bet on. It's called mention markets, which could be anything like Tom Brady saying, "Oh, I think that they're going to run an RPO."
Newswire. Only on SportsGrid.
As a former pitcher who thought the umpires were wrong far more than people let on, I like the ABS system. But you're going to have problems because umpires are going to start having issue with the fact that they're being called out. Well, here's the thing. Umpires are now going to be treated like players. They're going to get publicly embarrassed when they make mistakes in front of the fans.
Outspoken with Dan Cilio. Only on SportsGrid.
Massive shift in the sports landscape that the national media desperately does not want to admit. And I am talking about Major League Baseball officially overtaking the NBA as the second most popular sport in America. And the momentum has completely flipped. Numbers don't lie.
The Early Line. Only on SportsGrid.
You want to hit a home run the right field out there in Anaheim? You better hit it further, people. That means way up 15 to 20 rows as we opened up the show talking about Joe Adell stealing 3 home runs from the Seattle Mariners, which would be 3 runs. And if I'm good at math, which I'm not really good at math, but I can do this one, that should have been a 3-1 victory last night for the Mariners, but it wasn't, Craig. Once again, Joe Adell stealing, not on a season, not in a career, in one night, taking 3 home runs away.
Maybe the most incredible defensive performance from an outfielder in a single game that we've ever seen. He made one of the catches of the year already. I don't know how anyone's going to top that catch that he made to save the game on the last home run saving catch that he made. But look, maybe this is something that can spark the Angels over the course of the season. The one thing that I would say about the Angels at this point and every point, Donnie, is that teams have decided to not pitch to Philadelphia, your good buddy Mike Trout. It is not going to happen. He's walking more than any player in Major League Baseball, and it's not even close. That lineup is just not great. And when you have Trout in there, they've decided, hey, we're going to just let somebody else beat us. He's off to a good start, but I think he's walked 27% of the time, something crazy at the start of the year.
I'm telling you, Craig, this is going to hit so well. When I get a text from you in the middle of the summer that says, Donnie, get ready, get by your TV. I'm going to break the news. Mike Trout going to the Philadelphia Phillies. That's going to be a great moment here on the show. And certainly in my life and Mike Trout. You know, he always wants to be a Philadelphia Philly, hometown guy, Millville, New Jersey. But let's focus on this game itself. The favorites, it's no surprise today, Craig. It's going to be Seattle. It's Castillo going up against Johnson. Overnight around a minus 155 price, give or take, that Seattle was trading at. Now we're up to 166 and as high as 175 in the marketplace as a favorite towards the Mariners. A total in this game is 9. The public expecting a bounce-back performance today for those M's, Craig.
Yeah, and I would say in this game in particular, both teams 4-5. Both teams, wrapping up on a Sunday. And the one thing that we haven't talked about throughout the show, and unfortunately when we're doing the show, we don't know exactly, are the lineups. And in a game like this, with a lot of their starters playing as much as they have for both teams, as I've noticed here, you could get some wonky lineups today, Donnie, with these two teams. So make sure before you do anything, make sure Cal Raleigh's in there for Seattle. Make sure Trout is in there for the Angels. Like you could have some significant players sitting. So especially on the East Coast, a later game, before you do anything, check it out. So for me, no strong opinion here. I do think Seattle is the better team. And I think that this is the kind of thing where Seattle goes home, they go to sleep, and they say to themselves, we should have won that game. Let's make sure we get the next one tomorrow. My guess is Seattle does that today. I don't love the Angels pitching, and I certainly don't love their starting pitcher today.
I think they do win today as well. I think it's a Seattle day. And the reason I'm saying this, we don't have a huge book on Ryan Johnson. You take a look at last year, Craig, only 71 batters that he faced, but he got cracked by left-handed batters to the tune of a 455 weighted on base percentage, a 455 ISO and a 567 weighted on base percentage. And it's really translated over to this year as well, Craig. You look at only 18 batters he's faced from the left-hand side, a 286 ISO and a 489 weighted on base percentage, and even a high walk rate at this point. So when I look at that Mariners lineup, and Craig point out, look, we're early in the day. This game's not going to start till what? 1 o'clock West Coast, which is 4 p.m. Raleigh, left-handed batter. Cal Raleigh, who's going to be a switch hitter, hold back from the left-hand side. Naylor, as well as Canzone, as well as Crawford and Young, and also Rivas, who's not a great hitter, but he's a switch hitter. Craig, we might be looking at 7 of the 9 batters to be lefties today, which is what Ryan Johnson doesn't want to see. So for me, home run chances in this game, Luke Raley leading off there at a 474 ISO against righties to start the season. He's at a plus 500 price, and then Dominic Canzone at a plus 350 price, Craig. I'm with you. I think the Seattle Bats, if this lineup is what we think it might be, the lefties could have an advantage today.
Yeah, it could very well be. Keep an eye on that. And all late games is always my advice with the lineups because as it stands, you have to make some afternoon and evening decisions. And I think that probably goes for the next game we're going to preview as well.
Absolutely. By the way, this next game we are going to preview had a pitcher's duel last night on the mound. Could we get that today? Martin Perez, the crafty lefty, will be on the mound for those Atlanta Braves, going up against Brandon Pfaadt. This line, it is a pick'em across the board and a total that opened up at 9, still sitting at 9 at most outlets, but some outlets creeping towards the 9.5. So yesterday, maybe an anomaly on the scoreboard today, maybe more runs scored, but what we're seeing now, Craig, doesn't look like we got too big of a discrepancy in that price point. A toss-up out there in the desert.
Yeah, definitely so. Ozzie Albies is a name to watch today. He's off to a really good start. He's hitting a couple of home runs to start the season, so he would be a name to watch. The name that I'm watching also for the Braves, because this is kind of carrying over, Donnie, from last season, is Austin Riley. What's going on with Austin Riley, man? Is this guy going to come back? Is he going to get hot? This would be the day to do it. Braves are off to a much better start than last season. Donnie, they lost, I felt like, every game in April the Braves did last year and buried themselves. Martin Perez, maybe this is a good signing for them. Man, he was great the last time out. He'll pitch again today. Kind of like Atlanta to win again.
Yeah. I'm with you on Atlanta side of things. And if you just look at, again, early season statistics, most of these batters, Craig, going up against righties, only between, 20 to 25 at-bats that they've had. But the Braves have really shown out well. Ronald Acuna struggling to start the season against righties, but after that, Baldwin, very good numbers. Olsen, very good numbers. You pointed out Austin Riley, bad numbers against right-handed pitching, but it picks right back up. Yastrzemski coming over, having a solid season. Albies as well. And also, Craig, Dominic Smith out here. I believe he had another RBI again last night, 375 ISO and a 508 weighted on base percentage just against right-handed pitching. Now, Pfaadt last year struggled with lefties and righties, sort of a down season for him. Only 24 batters this season, Craig. He's actually been improved, but I like that Braves lineup. Conversely, flip it over to Martin Perez, who is a crafty lefty. You know who's not hitting lefties all that well? That's the Arizona Diamondbacks, outside of Carroll, who has 9 at-bats against lefties this year, 375 ISO. Nobody's done any damage whatsoever outside of 3 at-bats here. So I do look for the Braves here having the edge and maybe coming back last night after that close loss, maybe a close victory today.
Yeah, and flipping it back to Atlanta, when they got Mauricio Dubon, he was sort of like an extra player for them. Now he's playing every day. He's off to a tremendous start, too, batting .357 on the season, 1 home run, 6 runs driven in. It feels like Atlanta may have pushed the right buttons with a lot of their players. They were more aggressive this past offseason. I know they had those injuries to the pitchers at the start of the year, but it hasn't affected them at all. So kudos to them. 6-3 start.
And Brandon Pfaadt, not a great strikeout pitcher here. This lineup for the Atlanta Braves against Major League Baseball, which everybody strikes out. Not them. Only Olsen and Riley have high K percentages here. Everybody else manageable. Put the ball in play. Good things happen. That's what we like to say here, pro baseball today. I think the Braves do handle their business today. Maybe a sneaky team total. We'll find out. But more pro baseball today is on the way on an Easter Sunday right here on the SportsGrid Network. teams with even records going to duel tonight on Sunday Night Baseball from Detroit. St. Louis is in town to finish their series here. Leahy is going to be on the mound going up against Montero. And as I said, Craig, both of these teams, it's early. The Tigers won 2 straight games to even up their record at 4-4, but there are the St. Louis Cardinals who didn't have a lot of expectations sitting at 4-4, but they opened up the season 4-2, got a little excitement at home. How are we feeling early season about both of these teams? And the expectations for me, Detroit's going to be really good and be in the playoffs, but could this be maybe get off to a decent start? Cardinals start to get some of that, hey, you know, we might be able to hang around the wild card race, or do we know what's going to happen on the Cardinals this year?
I think it's fool's gold with the Cardinals. I do. The one thing that could change that a little bit would be, I don't know what their expectations were going into the season with Jordan Walker, who they certainly had huge expectations 2 years ago and then last year. And then it kind of felt like this was it for him, you know, like we'll give him another shot, tinker with some more things, see if he can catch fire. And boy, has he caught fire, Donnie, or what? Like if Jordan Walker is what they thought he was going to be several years ago, then that's another big bat in their lineup, in a lineup that doesn't have a lot. They have Gorman, they have Burleson. I mean, Donnie, what are those guys going to be in July? On another team, right? Most likely. Yeah. So if Weatherholt can hold pat and if Walker can hold pat, maybe it would be a little bit better than what you would have thought at the beginning of the season. But let's be honest, this is a very strange choice for Sunday Night Baseball. I mean, what did you think you were going to get? Maybe you thought you'd get Skubal or Framber on the other side. This is a yikes, dog poo matchup here. No offense to the starting pitchers here. I saw Leahy pitch in the spring. I didn't think very much of him, but I was okay with that because I know where the Cardinals are headed. Keider Montero, I mean, there's a chance the Cardinals can hit the ball again tonight. He doesn't strike out a lot of guys either. So maybe we'll get a fun game tonight. But week 2 of the baseball season, and this is the prime matchup on is it NBC Peacock? I think tonight too.
Come on, Craig. You know, people would say, oh, no, you can't put on Yankees, Red Sox once again here. Well, you're going to get St. Louis and Detroit here early season at this point here in the temperatures. Let me just take a quick look at Detroit. Oh, yeah, Craig. 40 degrees at first pitch with about a 10-mile-an-hour wind blowing out to left field. Leahy versus Montero, as we just brought it up here. Favorite is Detroit. However, they're under a -150 price point here. Open up overnight around a -135, Craig. We're seeing as high as -140s, -145s in the marketplace, but 8 out of every 10 moneyline tickets I'm seeing coming in on Detroit. People just not believing here in St. Louis at this point now. But if we are looking at the game as it lines up, Craig, you're right about this. Leahy last year, by the way, 363 batters that he faced. He had an 0.95 ISO and a 284 weighted on base percentage. Not a big strikeout guy, but on the early season, he's gotten lumped up here so far by left-handed batters. But if we go with Keider Montero, again, Leahy talking about left-handed batters, he faced, Craig, 198 of those last year. How about a 229 ISO against and a weighted on base percentage of 374 and a K rate of only 13%? Can the lefties do damage against the Cardinals? Am I crazy to say? Flip that coin up there and just take the underdog in this game today?
You could, man. Like I don't like the Cardinals long term, but I do think in this game it's possible. And again, I mean, Jordan Walker is one of the hottest hitters going now in the last few days. So if that's going to continue, then you certainly have a shot. On the side of Detroit, the one thing that I would say is at some point, Spencer Torkelson at the end of the season, we're going to look up, he's going to have 30 home runs. He has none. So I would expect either tonight or tomorrow or the next day. I mean, this guy is a power hitter, and he's going to end up with 30 bombs. It is a little strange to me to see his numbers here in the early part of the year, but I think that will normalize. He was almost a guy that I picked to click tonight. I was very close on that, but he will get going soon.
Now, because if you're a Cardinals fan tonight and this game was at home, Craig, what is it, the $20 ticket that gets you all you can eat, show up to the ballpark regardless if your team wins or loses, and it's freezing? Like, that makes it a little bit more manageable. Like, you got to see a bad baseball team in cold weather, but you're loading up on nachos, hot dogs, beverages, soft drinks, and all that good stuff. Maybe it makes it more palatable, but St. Louis in Detroit tonight for a cold temperature game. And again, that's not a great hitter's ballpark to say the least. Now, the wind is blowing out double digits to left, but you're going to be making contact tonight, and it is going to be hurt in the hands. However, if you take a look at the lineup today, Kevin McGonigal, 25 at-bats against right-handed pitching.
He's doing well.
227 ISO, 407 weighted on base percentage there, Craig, for the youngster.
Yeah, we have a lot of rookies off to really good starts. I know it was scorching for a couple days, and now everyone is certainly waiting for that to normalize. a little bit. But I do think that this rookie of the year market, when we talk about it coming up next on Polymarket, is certainly interesting because I think you could have 3 or 4 guys in the league go right down to the wire here in the end.
Yeah, youngsters showing up here and getting paid in Major League Baseball. And by the way, I did read up, Craig, bring up those youngsters early, get a compensatory draft pick if that kid stays up. Hey, we're making sense in Major League Baseball. Love to see it. More baseball next.
We're proud of this class. This is the weakest Hall of Fame class in the history of the Basketball Hall of Fame. This is an embarrassment to the men and women that are deservingly in that Hall of Fame. And the dead ones are rolling over in their grave right now saying, get this basketball out of my gravesite because I don't want to be associated.
The Craig Carton Show. Only on SportsGrid.
Italy can't make the World Cup. That's wildly embarrassed.
You know, Italy, to me, I think they're like the Cowboys, right? They're the Dallas Cowboys, basically. They're this ultimate sort of public team, big merch, like, you know, monsters.
That's a good one.
Yet they really haven't won in a while. But we're talking about a world superpower.
Game time decisions. Only on SportsGrid.
Find some opportunities to make yourself some money or to find a middle or, man, that doesn't look right. I'm going to go under whatever, arbitrage, hedge. You could do all of these things. It's why we do these shows. And in-game betting, I know a lot of people that make a lot of money off of in-game betting. There's nothing wrong with in-game betting. I think it's much more good than it is bad. But sometimes for your own peace of mind, it is okay to just walk away and check on it later.
In-game live, only on SportsGrid.
Discussion in March was, this ABS is ruining everything. There's challenges in the second inning and the third inning. And yes, for CB Buckner, that has been the case. But for every other umpire in Major League Baseball, what you're seeing, Donnie, is exactly what you said. This is going to normalize. We did see a lot of success in the first couple of days of the season.
Pro Baseball Today, only on SportsGrid.
Major League Baseball talk on Pro Baseball Today, SportsGrid Network, right here. Donnie Rightside and Craig Mish, and Easter Sunday. Hope you're enjoying your weekend here and following along and watching some Major League Baseball. Now, we always talk a lot about some of these betting markets here. We got DraftKings and FanDuel, Bet365, whatever you're interested in, but also other ways to invest your funds, which includes Polymarket here. I said, Donnie, what is Polymarket here? Well, it's basically you're looking at a contract that you're taking out similar to a stock market, which means you can get in and get out at any time, and hopefully you can get paid. Let's take a look at the Padres and the Red Sox today, Craig, which we talked about. Buehler versus Suarez. Boston is home, and they are a favorite here. So instead of saying like, okay, well, what can you get here? You can actually take a contract out if you think Boston is going to win. They're currently trading, Craig, at 59 cents, which means a $100 investment here, let's just say, would pay back $233 if you took the dog in the San Diego Padres. If you went for Boston, a $100 investment, Craig, would pay back $167. And understand this too, where you might have an option where it's like, hey, you know what? I took Boston, Craig. They're up 4-0 by the end of the second inning. You're already profitable, and just like the stock market, cash me out and give me that money today.
Yeah, really interesting market, I think, here, because you have two teams that if you flipped their record at the start of the season, it wouldn't have surprised you. So you're a little bit surprised to see both teams not playing well and with a combined record of what would look like two last place teams in Major League Baseball. But as we discussed earlier in the show, really hard for me to get behind the starting pitching of the Padres. They are under a ton of pressure to win. And win right now, Donnie. They certainly have had their fair share of young players that they have said goodbye to out the door in their minor league system. This is a major league team that is built to win now. Ranger Suarez, on the other side of things, signed him to a big deal, didn't come through in game one. My expectation would be he'll play better. And as we talked about earlier in the show, the Red Sox offense is going to come alive at some point. So for me, it's probably the investment in Boston today, although I just don't really know what's going on with either team here. They're playing this poorly at the start of the season.
And understand this as well, currently trading at 59%, which means once you see the lineups and you don't like those lineups, some of those lines are going to go a little bit higher, a little bit lower here, but also understand the stock market theme. Hold on to it. You're going to hold it. You're going to lose it. You're going to hold it. You're going to win it. And that's up to you at this point here, but many different ways that you can go, Craig. And my favorite topic that I love to talk about because I don't think it's happening. And if you want it free, $7.15, you can come over by my way and we'll have a cup of coffee next year. Donnie, what are you talking about? It's a new CBA. The deal is going to happen. We just don't know when. But you know when I do know when? We're not getting it, Craig, by December 1st, 2026, because Major League Baseball, they like to long play everything. And Scott Boras will tell you, what are you kidding me? I'm going to create a marketplace and urgency. Then we're going to strike the deal. Craig, a 28% chance on Polymarket that we get a deal by December 1st. I ain't buying it, Craig. I'm not.
Yeah, hard to do it. And, every week we're going to get a little trickling information, Donnie, like a little nugget on the CBA each week. What was the nugget this past week? It was that the Players Association have assembled this war chest of money. Oh my God, was it 500 million or something like that? But that's like not even Shohei Ohtani's contract. That is not going to work. Eventually this is going to get done. I'm super hopeful that this doesn't drag into next season, but all indications to me, I would be stunned, Donnie, if anything happened before the end of the year. I do think, I don't know, I'm an optimist. I think we're going to play a full season next season. I think we're going to have a full spring training next season. But December? Man, that's pretty... We can't even get free agents to sign until January. No. You really think we're going to get this done in December? I don't think so.
I'm telling you, Craig, we're talking right now on April the 5th. We've done a lot of shows already on Pro Baseball Today. I don't want to be talking next year on April 5th, Craig. Hey, Craig, do you think they're going to come to an agreement here and when spring training going to get underway? But let me ask you, yeah, exactly. KBO, middle of the night, have some fun. Everybody's going to be superstars there. But answer me this question. Is there a legitimate chance that Major League Baseball comes together and says, look, we're going to have some sort of a cap, but also some sort of a floor? Or is it Major League Baseball, which we always talk about, the most powerful union in sports is baseball, where they would just burn this to the ground and say, there is no way we are ever going to accept any sort of cap, and that's where this thing starts?
You mean the players you're talking about, Donnie? Re-ask me that question again, just so I know how to answer correctly.
Is there any chance that the players have a starting point that goes, you can ask whatever you want, but if it starts with a salary cap, we aren't even going to come to the negotiation table? Is there a chance that the players bend on that and say it's better for baseball to do this? Or do they just come in because we'll never have a cap, and that's where they always start?
Yeah, look, I mean, if that's the case, then there's not going to be a deal because I think that is coming. Yeah, no, I think that I think it may be a non-starter for the players, but I think it's probably a non-starter on the other side. And for me, as we've talked about here on the show, I think that we owe it to the players to hear their side of this. I think we owe it to them to get a better understanding as to what they would like to see. Because the players, I've always been on the side of the players, and in the past, always. But this time around, with everything that has transpired since the last CBA, I don't understand why a cap and a floor would not work. It seems to work in the other leagues. And so when I hear the players making comments such as it doesn't work in the other leagues, I'm a little perplexed. So I would like, because it does. So I would like to see there a little bit of a plan here as to an alternative to the cap and a floor. So at least I can dissect that. But Donnie, I haven't seen anything yet except for comments. It doesn't work. They're wrong. Exactly. It does work. I mean, look at the money in the NFL. Look at the money in the NBA. And look at the amount of money these mega deals have gotten. I mean, James Harden's making $40-50 million a year for 7 different teams. You're telling me this doesn't work? I don't get it, but we'll see.
By the way, who was it? Was it Brent Rooker that said that? Who said get back?
It was Brent Rooker. I don't want to call out a player because that's not fair. I don't think that's fair because I think honestly, from Brent Rooker's perspective, I think that may be coming from somewhere else. And again, I'm not going to be that person to do that, because the players are the ones that we want to see and we want to pay for. We do. But I would love to see a plan in place, at least so I could put it against this cap and a floor.
Yes.
Because for me, that's where I'm at right now. I am at more competitive balance, more parity. You know, I'm on a show here. I think it was with Kevin and Gabe maybe a couple of weeks ago, and Gabe and I are going back and forth, and he's like, the Dodgers would never agree to it. The owner of the Dodgers last week said we need more parity in baseball. I mean, it's obvious to me at this point, but maybe I am missing something. I'll defer to the players and wait for me to be able to dissect their plan too.
Absolutely. Here, let's flip it over to the NL Rookie of the Year market. Some of these guys getting paid and getting called up to Major League Baseball. Connor Griffin, one of those guys. He's trading at 31%, but the favorite here, Craig, Bryce Eldridge, 36%. Charlie Condon, 36%. Zach Dean, 35%. Before we get down to Connor Griffin at 31, who's now an official Major League Baseball player.
Yeah, I mean, Connor Griffin right now is the one to stay away from, because Connor Griffin just got the contract. He just came up. He just got a big hit. Like, if you're going to invest, find somebody else in the market right now, like JJ Weatherholt or someone else, because this is the worst time, I think, to buy a guy like Griffin. Not that he can't win Rookie of the Year, but there's a super amount of hype on him. Find somebody else, Donnie, in the market. That would be my advice.
You know what I love about this, too? Because, you know, the marketplace is pretty quiet before the season starts on some of the rookies, because the fans are watching around. You want to see who gets off to a hot start. And we're just talking NL right now. It looks like, Craig, you can bring up Polymarket right now and go to the NL Rookie of the Year page. It is a roller coaster of everybody changing from favorite to not favorite to favorite to not favorite. Look at that. It's like a earthquake happening, Craig, and the Richter scale is going nuts over the past week. So you can track it all as it goes, but as it sits right now, Eldridge is the favorite. Give it a day or two. Let's just say, look at this. Connor Griffin just got called up, has 2 home runs on Monday and Tuesday. He'll skyrocket to the lead, because it wasn't too long ago, Craig. We were talking about J.J. Weatherholt, the runaway after 2 days. Now he's down to 21%. Give it a day or two, people. Take those contracts out to see what we can do with them. But more fun talk here in the prediction markets coming up next, which includes AL Rookie of the Year and much more. It's Pro Baseball Today. We're keeping you involved. We'll be back next. Are we not having fun on pro baseball today? A different way to look at some of these investment strategies that you can have. And if you get in early and you're right, boy, it can be a very nice payday on the back end. Major League Baseball's AL Manager of the Year. Now, not a lot of trading going on right now, but if I would have told you right now, the leader in the clubhouse with funds being bet on, it's actually Alex Cora that's listed here in this marketplace. The favorite right now, and it's mostly about 40%, 44%, 45% on Skip Schumacher. Boy, it's kind of hard to say, Craig, right now who the AL Manager of the Year is, because what have they actually done through 8 games? But there's a market, and people will invest.
Yeah, boy, way too early in this one. And sometimes the Manager of the Year, Donnie, does get skewed a little bit to the first season guy, like a guy in their first season with the team. So I understand that. And Skip was fantastic in that 2023 season in Miami. So I guess you could look at that and say, can he do that with the Texas Rangers? It still remains to be seen. But you have a lot of first-year managers out there. I certainly think that somebody that I can assure you is going to be in the mix. I don't know if he's going to win or not, but since we're talking about investments, quote unquote, here on Kalshi, would be Stephen Vogt. I mean, Cleveland is always going to be in it, right? So, there's going to come a point where I don't know if he's going to win, but he's going to be in the top 3 because Cleveland's going to be better than what we thought. They're going to win 85, 86 games probably, and he'll have a chance just like he did last year, just like he did the year before. So for me, that's always the guy to keep an eye on. I would have thought, by the way, Donnie, at the beginning of the season, that the investments would become heavy on Mark Kotsay of the A's, just because of the investments that they made on the field with a lot of those contract extensions. And now, Donnie, I may be on the other way. My guy, poor Kotsay, would you say right now that they're looking at him like, hey, man, this is not the start that the A's wanted to get off to.
It's funny because it's like, hey, well, that guy made a great move by putting in this pitcher in the 7th inning. Manager of the Year, first 8 games of the season. We know how this balances out. You can't have too good a team. You can't have too bad of a team. You got to have a team that didn't have high expectations, maybe slightly over-exceeded, made the playoffs, and that's what it's going to come down to here. But a long season here for AL Manager of the Year. Let's get even down deep, because you take a look, you go to FanDuel and DraftKings, try to find Executive of the Year in Major League Baseball where you can invest in. You can't do it. Kalshi and Polymarket, you can absolutely do that. How about the Executive of the Year winner? And again, a lot's going to have to factor in how many decisions you're going to make are the right way. But we talk about so much Milwaukee. You traded away an ace, you get some prospects back, you don't spend a lot of money, but here you are in first place. And it's Matt Arnold from Milwaukee, trading at 16% right now as the favorite, Craig, on Kalshi for Executive of the Year.
Yeah, and I think that that Tampa Bay tree is always one to look at, so I always start there. And so with Eric Neander, of course, who's going to be in it every year, and certainly if you look at it, I know that it was not a great weekend in New York thus far. I don't know what's going to happen with Miami today, but Peter Bendix of the Marlins thus far. I mean, the Marlins are 5-3 to start the season too, so that could be a name to keep an eye on as well. But I'm going to guess that it's going to be a team that is performing above expectations, and also, Donnie, that made good free agent signings, right? That's going to be the thing, is who signed free agents to a 1-year deal, a 2-year deal, a 10-year deal that ended up working out. This, to me, of all of the things that we're going to review, is the way too earliest for me to try to predict an executive. I mean, what free agent through 8 games can you tell anything about right now? I think the answer is none.
Or how about Ben Sherrington makes all the right moves here in the second half of the Major League Baseball season, and Pittsburgh makes it to the playoffs, and they shut down baseball for 4 years, and everybody gets upset with that at this point here. So hopefully it doesn't come down to that, but that's what we're looking at now, making the best free agent moves. And also when Craig's talking about free agents, you can sign a lot of them, but they don't pan out. Like, hey, why try? No, you don't get any extra credit for that. It's the decisions that you make that actually better the baseball team here, which leads us to the next marketplace, the best record in baseball. Is it crazy on the Kalshi marketplace that we're looking at the Dodgers? No, it's not. But who's starting to make a little bit of a surge here? It says, hey, maybe us as well, up 18%. That's the New York Yankees with their great start to the Major League Baseball season. If it ended today, Craig, best team in baseball here record-wise would be the Yanks. But it's always going to be the Dodgers. The question is buying low and buying high on those Dodgers.
Yeah, for me, it would be somebody other than LA, whether it's the Yankees or Mets or Phillies or Milwaukee or even someone else. I mean, you're never gonna to me, buy in on the Dodgers at any point. The best time to invest on Kalshi or anywhere else on the Dodgers would be, Donnie, when they lose 3 games in a row, which is going to come at some point because every team does lose 2 or 3 games in a row. But it's certainly not right now after they're destroying Washington this weekend. So, maybe New York, maybe some other team. I think what's been encouraging for the Yankees start probably is their pitching has been really good. I know Weathers wasn't great for them on Saturday, but what are they expecting, Donnie, from Weathers? You just give me 5 innings and we'll turn it over to the bullpen. That's who he is in their starting rotation. So good start for them as well. Long way to go for this.
Trading at 1 penny right now. You know what that is? That's the Colorado Rockies. If you want to invest, Craig, how about this? $100, you would make back $10,000. By the way, that $100 investment should pay back like $1.5 million if you're going to get Colorado with the best record in pro baseball. Exactly. You can get down, you can have some business, which then you say, well, that's not fair, Donnie. Talk about Colorado in a better light. Perfect market for you now, Craig. Pro baseball, worst record. There you go, Rockies backers. Have at it. The favorite in something at 64% as a chance, which means if you think they're going to have the worst record in baseball, Craig, $100 investment pays back $176. The Rockies, you can win at something, which means losing at everything.
Yeah, I think this is my favorite one. Yeah,
Great.
I think this is legit. I do. I think the Rockies are finally in a spot where they realize they're going to have to work the margins and do things differently to win. I don't know if they'll ever get the pitching right at Coors, but Donnie, I saw them in person. They are the worst team in baseball. I'm sorry to say. Yeah, and I saw the White Sox too. The White Sox, to me, far and away better than the Rockies. I don't see anybody worse than them this season. I think that this is one I would invest in.
Long summer at Coors, and you see there, everybody's thinking that's going to be the Colorado Rockies. But if you just say to yourself, like, you know what? As long as it's not the Colorado Rockies, so take the contract out on the no. It trades at 47 cents. $100 investment, Craig, is plus money. Pays back $213. You get everybody in baseball to try to be worse than Colorado, and that's like, yeah, exactly. Nobody can do it at this point right now. It feels like it's Colorado or bust. We'll be right back, Pro Baseball Today. Let's get some picks out there to the people as well.
So much to get into.
So much to get into, so little time. Listen, this is a time of year where it's great basketball. Teams that have to be at their best, some teams at their best for 40 minutes, some teams at their best for 36 minutes. But at the end of the day, you got to play your best 40. Otherwise, you're going home like we saw over the last couple of days.
College basketball today, only on SportsGrid.
Why are all these contracts being signed, folks? Yes, the players are talented. Yes, they are deserving of it, but it's such goodwill to hand out these buyout arbitration contracts for these young players this time of the year, right before opening day, to get all their fans excited. And notice, right before the Pirates' home opener, not before opening day, before their home opener, it's a setup.
Newswire, only on SportsGrid.
Kansas City trading as the favorite, Joe. Do we think that's the possibility of that first game?
Yeah, they should make it the Jets, Donnie, so they can guarantee a win in front of their fans to open up the set. I'm just saying. I mean, that's what I would do. But no, I mean, ideally the NFL would love a Kansas City reunion at Buffalo in the new stadium.
Prediction Markets Edge, only on SportsGrid.
There's a basketball player who's 7'9". He's insignificant on his team. And quite frankly, I don't know if he goes Division 1, 2, or 3 at this point and will be significant. Joe, how can you be 7'9" and not be able to get on the court in college basketball? Shouldn't he be maybe, I don't know, the most dominant shot blocker in the history? I watched Manu Bol be a really good player at times in the NBA.
The Early Line, only on SportsGrid.
Good time had by all today on Pro Baseball Today. Got to talk about some games that are going to take place on Sunday, some future things like will we have a CBA, and also some Polymarket and Kalshi. We hit every single angle, Craig, on this show today. Feels good, energized, and ready to go, huh?
Yeah, games coming up here later this afternoon. I'll definitely be locked in. My point of focus today will be Miami and New York if they play that game. And then my other focus will be certainly Cincinnati and Texas and preparing for the upcoming series this week.
Great day. Major League Baseball on deck. You know what is fun too, Craig? You pick a guy, he hits a home run. You feel like you're king of the world. Craig's cannon shots, a 3-pack for the people. So maybe one of these baseballs hits the seats and Joe Adele doesn't take it away from us. Go ahead.
Yeah, I'll go with Ryan O'Hearn on Pittsburgh. I like the way that he's swinging the bat. I don't know what he'll be long term, but right now off to a good start for a week. And Bassett is a guy that I could see giving up a bomb. He's plus 630, so he'd be my first one on the Pirates. Boy, this guy like Murakami homers every day, Donnie. Like, come on, like just put him in. Maybe he hits a home run. And then shorter odds here on Adolis Garcia. Naturally, it's in Colorado. I probably didn't think this through enough. I'm just being honest here. Nobody really has great value on Philadelphia because the game is at Coors. And you want my dog of the day now, Sam, or you want to go to Donnie first with the homers? Okay, go ahead, Donnie.
Yeah, we got special graphics for you, Craig, on the dog of the day. We don't just want to burn at this move. But for me, Donnie's Dingers, I got a 3-pack here too. And as Craig points out, sometimes it's price point. Like you want to take maybe some favorites in there, but you got to give the people something to eat on. Adley Rutschman, a plus 750 price point, did a home run today. I'll take that chance. The numbers stack up pretty well. Then I'm going to go with Giancarlo Stanton, having a pretty good opening part of his season. I think the action makes some sense there. A little Yankees blast today for us. And the Dominic Canzone. Good prices out there, Craig, the biggest Yankees fan you will find on this network. Don't get it twisted here. So 3 shots for each, Craig. And what we're looking for, too, we could probably get away with going, 2 for 6 with big money, depending on who actually hits at this point. But a nice mix for both of us. High-end guys and some guys a little bit lower with the expectations for the home runs. That should be just fine. But now, Craig, it's time to get to the dog of the day. Dogs are barking today, or at least they better be in early April, Craig. Show us the way on a dog of the day for you. Where are we headed to?
Gonna take a shot here. I got Murakami. I'm gonna double down here on yes. Oh my gosh, are you gonna do this? Hold your nose here a little. The Chicago White Sox plus 130. That will be my dog of the day. Seemingly getting things right. Oh my gosh, can they just not give up like 6 runs in a game? And then maybe this would be the case. And Donnie mentioned it earlier, their run differential just horrible at the start of the season. I do think that they'll be a little bit better than they were last year. I don't love what I've seen from Toronto, Donnie. I'm just going to be honest. Yeah. I think they'll be fine. I don't love what I've seen early. They got beat up by the Rockies a little bit. Maybe they get beat up by the White Sox a little bit today. Close game. Give me the White Sox.
So I love that, too, because, by the way, about 85% of the tickets money line coming in on the side that Craig's going up against. I love to see that here. Let's go White Sox and cash in a ticket. For me, I'm going to go for maybe a toss-up game, which has a slight advantage towards Pittsburgh at around 60% of the tickets here, but not a lot of line movement here. A plus 110 price. I'm going on the Baltimore Orioles. Just looking for that game. Keep it close, Orioles. Maybe the polar bear comes through today with an early home run, gives them the lead. I'm going to take the Orioles at a plus 110 price. So Craig and myself, look, when you take underdogs early in the season, it's always probably going to be a public fade. We're heavy going against the public today. And the best part about this, too, if Craig and I just split 1-1, that's plus money in your back pocket, Craig. And that's the way it gets down here. But I like it. Home run props here on the docket. Going with some dog prices today. Look at that. Look, by the way, look how angry that dog is in there, Craig. Look at it.
That dog didn't like that Stanton pick. I know. He was very upset with that dog. He was like, why? By the way, does that dog,
what does it say on the dog bone? Does that say birds on it? What does that actually say? Birds. Now, what about Craig's dog? What's Craig's on there say? Okay, there you go. See, that makes sense. Some sense here. Look, graphic guys are absolutely on point today. But it is an Easter Sunday. And again, keep in mind, as Craig pointed out, always crazy on a Sunday, as we like to say, with the starting lineups here. You might have handicapped these games early on. Love this lineup. And then what are they doing today on a Sunday, Craig? Buyer beware sometimes.
Yeah, got to really be careful, too. I mean, a lot of the guys have been playing every game since the start of the season. This is the perfect opportunity to give players a day off, especially in the Northeast with the weather. So, yes, buyer beware on everything today.
Get some team totals down to work. You get some dog prices, home run props. It's all along the way. It's what we do on Sundays on Pro Baseball Today. And this will be a thing throughout the summer where we're going to do a lot of games on Sundays and a lot of look ahead stuff and fun on the way. Guaranteed. That's going to get your attention and have some fun with. For Craig Mish and Donnie Rightside, that'll do it for this Sunday's episode of Pro Baseball Today. See you next Monday.